فاضي شويه نسيت حتى السناك نسيت السناك وبعد كده في كوفي ممكن قبل ما نبتدي كده الو
الحمد لله تمام كله كويس لا لا طبعا اكيد ان شاء الله
مورنينج
ما تخش زي ما انت هتلاقي عدد
بس عملت جوينج على
لا لا قبليه بقى شمال خش خلاص
لا مفيش عزة
عشان كده ينقذونا وصلوا شوفوا المكان اللي انتوا عايزينه
داخلين على جواز برضه كده ينفع مبروك يعني امشي كده ايه لا كده طبعا
get you out, I would mention you have to just let me know, and I'll just make it. حتى لو في questions, we'll take them مع Farida, so you can leave on time.
Media شغالين. So I'm highlighting just how important it is to give back, because I think when I graduated from here, there's a duty that I think I got something big. I had a great experience. I learned a lot. I don't think I would have done anything without the experience I had here. And that's why I decided to give back, no matter how much the amount is. You know, I think just the idea of, you know, we got something, I need to give back so other students could benefit from. And yeah, so I think if you have the same experience, or if you're willing to give back, there are so many ways you could do so. You could contact the AUC alumni office directly. There are several ways you can pay. You can send you a messenger, you can deposit in the bank account, and I really think it does make a difference. I've seen a video recently that highlighted a lot of successful stories, students just benefiting from this scholarship, and I think in the near future they will be leaders in our country. Thank you.
We have the new AUC and rewards card that gives you discounts through several locations, several shops and travel agencies, hotels. So if you'd like, please register and you'll get your rewards card in 3 weeks' time. And now let me introduce our panelists. We'd like to thank you very much for being with us this morning. Farida Temraz, 12, class of 12, and she is the CEO and designer-in-chief of TEMRAZA. And Mounaz Raouf, class 12. It seems in class 12 that and she did show. And Ayman Raouf, 13, founders and creative directors of Okhtein. And of course, Dr. Ayman Ismail, class of 95-97. He's the assistant professor of Abdel, Latif, Jameel, Endowed chair of Entrepreneurship at AUC, and also the director of Venture Lab at AUC. Thank you very much.
It's a wonderful panel because everybody's thinking about the fashion industry in Egypt. Entrepreneurship is interesting, but fashion is definitely more interesting. It represents who we are, what do we look, how do we talk to the world. And we have two amazing examples of young designers who managed very quickly to become a global brand, which is something that we really need. So what I want to do today is actually very quickly talk to them about their story, their journey, how did they start, and how did they build a global brand. And then we're going to have questions from everybody. I'm sure many people are curious about what's happening, maybe about the new product lines, maybe about a new showing in global events. And then we want to think about what's next for them, what's next for the fashion industry in Egypt, where is that heading? So that's our plan. So let me start with Farida. Farida, what's your story? How did you get into the fashion? How did you learn how to design? How did you start your company and decide not to take a normal corporate job, which many of us are doing? What happened?
Hi everyone. It all started with a dream since I was 7 years old. I used to get books of sketches اللي هو illustration الدوتد ديت واقعد ارسم to draw a lot of dresses and trying to make, but definitely they were all evening and bridal dresses. And then at the age of 11, I started going to my mom and tell her I want to customize a dress. She thought I'm a sick child. يعني إن أنا عايزة customize a dress at the age of 11. So I used to go to workshops and go أقف على البنك بالبلدي كده أروح to see how the dresses are done, how they are cut, just observing. And then, but I thought I would never know how to make a career out of it. يعني back then دخلت مدرسة جامعة IMC double minor business and psychology. And then when I graduated, I took the corporate life, multinational. اشتغلت شوية في multinational. But on the side, I started TEMRAZA. Where this is when I thought, either ways I'm gonna give الورك اللي أنا أشتغله بس أدي الحاجة that I truly love from inside and feel passionate for, or give something that أرجع البيت خلاص عادي and that's it. So I said no, I'm gonna do something that I love, and this is when I decided to quit and to start with a brand كان آخر علشان I started extremely independent كان آخر مرتب شهر معايا لسامسونج I wanted to start something without even telling my parents يعني I really wanted to start I wanted them to believe in it first so I started TEMRAZA with 5,000 Egyptian pounds basically doing a logo and with an aim I had a dream to become an international brand, to be the first Egyptian-based international brand, for evening dresses, bridal, the clothing industry. So I started submitting to every single fashion week in the entire world, literally, I submitted to كله, I text them and emailed them لحد بعد 6 شهور I got an email back from London Fashion Week we're initially accepted although I had a lot of challenges منهم انه التيرن كان ما عنديش اصلا تيرن I didn't have dresses I just sent sketches and اللي هو زي كده قبل ما بنيجي الجامعه statement of purpose of why I want to do that I use my academia trying to market for what I want to do until I got the support ومش بس كده اتحايلت عليهم ان هم يدوني ديسكاونت فور ذا فاشن شو اللي هو يعني قتيله and I did London Fashion Week and then I got invited to one of the fashion shows in Paris Fashion Week I did Paris Fashion Week بالصدفه كان في competition بالصدفه and with hard work and luck of course we received first place award حاجة تبع Fashion TV, a competition تبع Fashion TV in Paris and then we went to Los Angeles Fashion Week then celebrities, stylists started to ask for our dresses some celebrities started to wear TEMRAZA on a red carpet which was a new thing وطبعا with global brand awareness I was very thrilled and then went to New York Fashion Week twice we recently received best female couture designer New York Fashion Week last Feb Thank you. And next week we're also going to New York Fashion Week, doing a collection there, but this time as an invitee representing Egypt. We got officially invited by official weeks in the US. We're taking a tour to New York and then we're going to LA, and we don't know what's next.
Wonderful. Thank you, Farida. Hey, Mounaz. Same question. What's the story? How did you get from AUC alumni, whatever you were doing, to actually thinking and starting your brand? And being an Okhtein, it's very hard for me to figure out which one I will ask, so I'll ask you both and we figure out.
I will both talk about it. Basically, how the idea came about was that it came naturally just because my sister and I would always design everything we would wear, literally from our dresses to our bags. We used to not design bags but basically buy bags and redesign them because we didn't have the know-how at that time. We both wanted to study. I'm originally a painter and artist and as a art designer as well, but we couldn't find good fashion courses in Egypt, so it didn't stop us because my mom told me you could be a Harvard graduate and not do anything with your life, but you could be someone who never graduated or privileged to graduate from a big and do something with your life. And we took this as a very important factor that we shouldn't limit our efforts to do anything just because we didn't graduate from fashion. So here we were very lucky to learn one of the most important factors, which was advertising and marketing, because you can be an amazing designer but not be able to sell what you do.
Or communicate your brand.
Exactly.
To your audience, the right audience.
So I think, like talking about AUC, we were both blessed that we had amazing professors, Latif, Moody, a lot of good professors here that really helped us out in terms of shaping who we are as characters. And from there, I started the corporate life. My sister graduated and she's like, you know what, I see how miserable you are. Especially that our dad, our dad didn't really believe, I love him, I respect him, but he thought when we told him about fashion, he's like, لا مش هتطلعوا خياطين. That's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
But not because of anything, he's just quite old school. So Aya told me, you know what, let's start our own thing. At first it was going to be a design hub basically, because as a designer, if you can design a bag, you can design your shoes, you can design your dress. If you have the gift, it's limitless, you know, you can design anything. So we looked at each other and we were like, you know what, let's start something called Matryoshka. اشرح لنا Matryoshka.
Basically, we wanted to design, we wanted to start an interior design hub. We wanted to create tables very, very different than what we started or what we have now. And we entered competitions. I was still studying. It was around 2011, like my second year at the university. And basically, we tried out with different tables, different home accessories and decor. And then it wasn't really something we were very passionate about, because I loved fashion in high school. This is something I wanted to study. And same with Mounaz, she was an artist. So as soon as she graduated, she started working in advertising, and I had 1 year left. And in 2013, when I graduated from here, I decided that corporate life is not for me. I interned in a couple of advertising agencies, and then we took the design route, and we started with a very, very similar to Farida, £10,000, and we started our own workshop. From there, we learned from the artisans, and it was really quite difficult at the beginning. Two very young women entering a very new market and talking and discussing our designs to the artisans was very difficult, but we managed to pull through, and from there
as a family mentored us for a while, and she told us that she learned the craftsmanship from the artisans in Khan Khalili. She was like, no matter where you go or where you study, at the end of the day, you will never learn the craft or the art from a professor. It always has to be from someone who actually does it. Okay? And that's what A and I did. We used to spend hours on end at the workshop with our artisans, and we learned how to do this and that. Even if it stopped us, we always let it be a challenge, because you can't design something and not be able to do it. It makes you... you could still be a designer, but it makes you more, you know what I mean? It gives you a stronger edge if you know how to do it. So it started from a very small workshop. My sister told my dad, I'm taking half of your office, same building. Then she kicked out half of his employees. She took the room, it was a makhzan. We turned it into a small workshop. We had 3 artisans, and for a year and a half, we started working with them until Emma Watson requested one of our backpacks. This was a very big career shift for us, because now that a celebrity is wearing a bag, you can no longer produce it in a small workshop, because you're meeting international standards. And to meet international standards, you have to have top-notch quality. So we started a process called outsourcing. And outsourcing from factories in Egypt until this very second is the biggest challenge of our lives, actually. I can go on, but I guess there are more questions.
Actually, let me ask you a little bit about that part, because I'm very interested about how do you actually get to the global side. So you started here in Egypt, and suddenly Emma Watson wants your bag. There's a lot that happens to get to that point. So how did you get to her? How did she get to know that this is interesting? How did she think that this is a good design she wants to wear? I think this is probably the shifting point from being a local brand to being actually a global brand. How did that happen?
And we don't believe in luck. That's one thing we don't believe in.
We had a strategy, for sure. We believed in it. We had a strategy, and the first things we discussed, Mounaz and I were, okay, what's our dream? Our dream is to have a global brand recognized by people internationally. How can we do that? It's the way you present yourself and your brand, and how you portray it. And this really, I give it back to all my courses that I learned here. Basically, what we thought about was advertising and Instagram, social media. It was very important for us. We wanted to represent the brand in a very different way than the brand that we were used to in Egypt. What we did was we were thinking that there is something called Al Khawaga. pretty sure you guys know that. You know, I'll only buy something that's made in Italy. I'll only buy a brand that's made in France.
And vice versa. People abroad always, when they thought of Egypt, they were like finishing wesh. Even people in Beirut, in Dubai, they were like, finishing the taco was not good. So A and I were very disappointed because we really wanted to break the stigma. You know that Levi's is manufactured in Egypt. Zara is manufactured in Egypt, partly in Egypt. You have big brands being manufactured in Egypt and no one knows that.
And same with the leather. Like when we were researching, when I graduated, when we used to go to the tanneries, we used to sit with the artisans there and the people that worked with the leather, and we discovered that the leather they exported to Temraz, fashion brands, and we were very disappointed that why do we export this the leather abroad, but we don't have it Egyptian brands using that kind of leather. So we wanted to utilize all of those resources and create an Egyptian brand, and we wanted to shed light by portraying it in a very different way, and that's how and the tool was basically Instagram. We tried to show, and we even had a lot of questions on Instagram, is this brand based in Lebanon? It looked Oriental, but they didn't want to associate it with Egypt. And that's what we tried to fight at the very beginning. And from there on, we targeted a lot of press releases, of the press abroad, sent out press releases, wanted to show everyone who Okhtein was. And from there, the first international celebrity was Emma Watson, and her stylist reached out.
Yeah, but we want to make, okay, so when Beyonce wore the bag, had at least like 10 friends of mine, including one of the publications in Egypt, literally saying that we paid Beyonce $1 million to wear our bag. I posted on Instagram. I told him if I have $1 million, I don't think I'll take a minimum of $6,000 times 18 Egyptian pounds. You do the math.
Or even back then it was 8 months.
It was 8. So it was still too much to pay. So what we did was, we call it hustling. And if you're a hustler, you're a hustler. You email, you text. If they don't reply, you email again. If they don't reply, you tag. If they don't reply, you tag again. And then you send another message, and then you tag. And then this is our strategy. You keep going there.
With a lot of research.
With a lot of research, of course. A is excellent with researching which stylist is in, who she's dressing, which celebrity. So this is what we do, is basically we let the product speak for itself. We're all about the art and not the hype. And we let the art speak for itself. So we usually, the way we craft our email is very, very good. So basically we realize something. When we email stylists, celebrity stylists, and say, Egyptian brand, Okhtein, they will never respond. Mm-hmm. So I told Aya, okay, we're not going to shy away from Egypt, but slowly we need to break the stigma. So I started changing the subject from Egypt to North African-based brand. And then we started getting a lot of responses from the stylists. Why? Africa in general is trending now. It's trending on CNN, it's trending everywhere. And everyone's like, all eyes are on Africa now. So when you give like an African twist to it, especially that all celebrity stylists are African American, you're grabbing their attention. So this is what we started doing, is that we started tapping into the psychology of these stylists and these celebrities. How do I make Oriental cool? How do I make Egypt trending? So it's the way we word things. It's the design. Some stylists I would send the brass bag to because I know this is so new to her, and some stylists don't like the Oriental stuff, so I send the edgy style. So yeah, we don't pay PR, we just hustle our way through.
Also, alongside PR and gifting was getting ourselves into competitions. This was one of the milestones of Okhtein. We got ourselves into a competition. It was Vogue Arabia competition. Vogue magazine was launching in the Middle East, so they created like an accessory and ready-to-wear fashion prize. We got into the top 10, and then we went to Dubai, presented our brand to 20 fashion experts. They were the jury, and we won first place. From winning there, we get to be stocked at very big retailers in the Middle East and Europe. And honestly, this was a milestone for us. We were stocked at Harvey Nichols, Riyadh. We were stocked at Bloomingdale's, Selfridges, Curve, and so on. And from there, it became sort of like globally recognized. And more celebrities endorsed than they started buying.
So that's a beautiful story. Farida, let me actually dig deep on that same thing. Did you also target the stylist? How did you get to that part? Because I think that's the most important thing. How do you move from just having a nice brand, nice design, good quality. And some people, I'm not saying a lot of people have it, but some people have it. But how do you actually get someone to wear it so that you can cross to the other side of becoming a recognized brand, that people think about it?
يعني أنا عجبني قوي how Mounaz replied to it into a one word. It's all about the strategy. Strategy is very important. That's why when I came from a background of integrated marketing communications, and yet I did my master's in fashion communication, but it was very important to create a purpose, a support, a tone of voice, to do my primary research, to implement everything that made the step. We did a plan, we did an aim, we had a mission and a vision. Well, it's actually not we, because it's only I, but I like to talk. يعني أنا now, as I have a way bigger team, it's all our efforts together. Strategy is very important, is extremely important. And لا أنا لما ابتديت أول, when I started sending out to international fashion weeks, because haute couture is somehow different from accessories and bags. Haute couture, you have to try the dress, you have to make sure that the zipper is not going to be ripped off or anything that happens. Because in order for a celebrity to wear a dress on the red carpet, that's a lot of effort, that's a lot of convincing, that's a lot, you have to be extremely credible. احنا بقالنا 10 years we're hearing the same names on the red carpets of Oscars, SAG Awards, Golden Globes, Emmys, Grammys. In order to penetrate something like this, that was a huge milestone for us. So and I did several strategies. I used to do a collection in my LA Fashion Week collection. LA is where Hollywood is. I did a collection called The Concert, inspired by staged performances, inspired by its targeting the celebrities who actually do stage performances, including Beyonce, including Rihanna, including Carrie Underwood, including even J-Lo, Britney Spears, and I targeted these celebrities, and each dress was talking to a certain celebrity. It's like you're doing a segmentation and a very clear-cut target marketing. And this is when actually, when I went to the Hollywood, to LA Fashion Week, this is where Hollywood is, so I went closer to the, I used the audit al-Khawaja technique also, so I went closer to where the celebrities are, and I started doing meetings, and I used to speak in a lot of places here in Egypt, تبع YPO and different entities, and I started asking really people to help me. How should I go to these stylists? How should I reach these celebrities? Until I got to meet one of these PR agencies, and these PR agencies, because you have to have someone in the US 24/7 representing you with the dress and convincing them that the zipper is extremely the same or even close to a high-end brand, Valentino, Gucci, whatever, Oscar de la Renta, Alexander McQueen. So I had to go all these convincing stages, and people actually, and I refrained from people seeing me, because في عقدة تانية إنه you're young and you come from the land of camels and pyramids, so you still هم بالنسبة لهم I love Egypt, and this is the only reason why I don't wanna. I had a lot of job offers also in the fashion industries across Europe and the US, but I insisted to stay in Egypt. But when I went to London Fashion Week, they were like, are you sure you're from the land of camels and pyramids? And I had the same comment. I think you're Lebanese. يا جماعة مصحف أنا مصرية. يعني أنا أكتر من كده. فأنا it was really tough, and it had a lot of hard work. And I remember, out of the 7 years, I had 3 years in the middle, literally not getting out of my workshop, and I had 10 kilos more on me. And this is how frustrating it was. But this is the whole purpose. It's passion that keeps us going. Passion, although it's very difficult, although it's extremely, and يعني أنا أول ما وصلت بقول للآية ومناز عاملين إيه في الشغلانة اللذيذة دي يعني it's a lot. And actually الارتزنز أنا artisans وأنا بقى in my case tailors. That's أصعب, the most difficult and challenging part you can ever deal with. You don't know how difficult it is because لدرجة إن أنا خطيت أقول أنت ساعات بتعلمينا أكننا متخرجين من جامعة سيركيوز. فأنا بقول لهم يا جماعة أنا دي طريقتي وبحب أتعامل مع workers at home. They are extremely educated and if you're not, we will educate you. Dealing also with the tailors and I was يعني insisted إنه أنا برضو to have Egyptian tailors. I started getting Egyptian tailors اللي used to work for زياد نقاد وشاربل وبقى من الكويت ولبنان وجاي بقى ومش عارفه كيف. It was يعني fun with a lot of passion. في a lot of obstacles. لازم استخدم a lot of psychology from عقدة الخواجة to convincing to showing أقطع الفستان عشان تمثلوا المصحف ما يتقطع. يعني I had to go through a lot of things and I had to even travel all the way. يعني أنا believe it or not تعبت من السفر. It has the positivity and the negativity. I have to travel and present my product and show them and make them fit, see the fit and everything. And Egypt has a lot of good بس محتاجة الصبر. يعني احنا بس كده we need the patience, the passion and patience go along very smoothly. That's it.
Spot on. One thing new I learned, it's all about the zipper. That's the most important thing. Definitely. So why don't we take a round of questions, maybe 4 or 5 questions, and field them to our panel, and then we'll get back to more things. So questions.
I just wanted to ask you, I mean, you've done a great job with establishing your brand locally and abroad. In terms of scaling up, where do you see yourself in a few years, and what do you think your biggest challenges are going to be? Do you have a plan for something like that or not yet? Thank you.
Wonderful. Other questions?
Funding. Can you just walk us through the funding process once you started, and then, if you don't mind, without mentioning the number, you guys are profitable, or you're still building your brand?
Right.
Wonderful. Third question.
I wanted to ask, how big is your team currently? How big is your team currently, and how did you build up your enterprise? Because I mean, to be able to meet up all the challenges that you face internally, you have to have a very strong team that is ready to come up to you. So how did you work this out?
Wonderful. So we have 3 questions. How did you build your team? How did you fund your company? And how are you planning to scale? Whichever one you want to pick.
Strategy. When we had a strategy, it was not only for PR and celebrity endorsement. Of course, it was especially that we have no business background. So this was also self-taught. We would sit for hours on end with mentors from finance to legal to, and the best thing about this job is that we learn literally every single day, and we make a lot of friends. Even bankers at the Arab African Bank would call me and be like, you did this and this, you have to change it now or else you get into trouble. So that we've been blessed with meeting the right people at the right time. And not only that, but we always fish to find the right people at the right time. Like we said, Okhtein has been self-funded.
Very small capital.
Very, very small capital. And we've, believe it or not, for the past 4 years, we've been operating on revenue. So we depend, all whatever we get, the revenue is what we self-generated again into the company.
Is it profitable? Yes.
Is it profitable? Yes. But it's not the profits that we want. Why? Because, and I'm going to share this experience with you. Our factory that we work with is a monopoly in Egypt, okay, in terms of quality. He's the only, believe it or not, factory in Egypt that produces the quality we want. Given that he's monopoly, he takes full advantage of that. So instead of, let's say, the price of the bag, he takes exactly the profit I take, basically. And he's treating me as if I'm not his client, but the other way around, okay? And it's frustrating as hell, because I keep telling him, if you increase the ad cost, then you are lowering my markup, therefore I'm not profiting as much. And if I try to create a markup from the ad cost that will benefit my brand to help me grow, then my price points will increase. And that's why our price points have been increasing the last season, which then caused a big problem because I no longer have an entry price in the international market and local market, which then changes my brand positioning. Are we a high-end affordable brand or are we a high-end luxury? So this is currently a problem my sister and I are facing, and we've been talking to a lot of people in the government. We actually met with the Minister of Investment, Trade. And we told him this problem we're facing, and especially that our president is trying to support export of leather finished goods. Why? Because we have two very strong agreements with the American market and the European market, Euro 1 and QIZ, quiz. And I don't know if you're aware of them or not, but when we export, the importers are get exempted for 40% customs. So it's an amazing deal for any retailer in the US or Europe. But in order to export, I need a factory. I need a factory who's not going to take advantage of the price points or quality. Exactly. So do you want to explain what we're doing in terms of, so you can...
Scaling
up, exactly. The product expansion.
So problem Mounaz shared, we're trying to solve it, and how basically we're in the process of manufacturing our own leather goods. This is going to require a lot of funding, and this is possibly the only solution we have at the moment if I really want to stick with the Made in Egypt product. I have many options of producing abroad, but I still want my product to be based in Egypt. And to solve this, we were thinking about opening our own factory, and it requires a lot of money fund. And we're working on it right now. We're actually meeting the Ministry of Investment next Monday, and we're sort of creating a business plan for it. As for the team, when we first started, it was just Mounaz and I, and Mounaz and I just started 2 people and 3 artisans. But when we closed down our workshop and now we're working with outsourcing, we hired a team of artists and graphic designers. We're a team of 5 or 6 girls in the office. We have interns. We got a lot of interns, and that come seasonal during the winter breaks and summer breaks. And as for operations, we have another 6, so total 12 employees at the moment. It's very hard at first to trust and give someone our jobs, but we had to delegate because other than that, it's gonna fall. We needed to.
Going back to your question, we actually have a plan for the next 10-20 years, and we had it since we started. And to share a little bit of this plan, we do not want to be known for only bags, because like I said, if you're a designer, you're a designer. You're not just specific design for a specific product. Our plan is to be an accessory brand, so it's leather jackets, belts, shoes, whatever it comes. Or you can even come up with a new ready-to-wear line and have Okhtein buy it. That's the same creative directors. We are even open to become part-time creative directors for other big brands, which is fine because I think my aim is actually I'm dying to design for Versace. I'm dying. That's one of my dreams. Yeah, then collaborate with them. Collaboration is one of our big next step. It's the future of fashion actually, when emerging designers collaborate with big high-end designers and so on and so forth. So this is our 2018 strategy. For our team, they take really bad salaries, because we cannot afford giving them what a multinational would give them. But what we love about that is they all have the same passion that my sister and I do. So they know they're working for something, they're building something. So every time we would interview a girl, okay, we were like, listen, you have one of 2 options. Either go work for a multinational or be part of building something. And it's up to you really, what do you want? And some were like, no, I'm sorry, I need at least £20,000, which is actually higher than my own salary. And some girls be like, you know what, I don't care about the salary, I really want to learn, and I really want to be part of this growth. So what Anne and I started doing was, we offered these girls extra time an effort to teach them. So we tell them, listen, your salaries are not that great, but in return, I'm really teaching you what any multinational company will never do. Because multinationals, you have a hierarchy of some sort. So the new ones always get lost, and you don't put as much effort into training them and teaching them. So what we like about our team is that you were just a team of 5, and each one of us has at least 10 roles. So today I could be production, sales, marketing. Tomorrow I'm on the street doing photography, shooting street styling for Okhtein. It's the same thing. So I think the beauty of our team is that we all,
and yeah, seeing them grow in just 6 months, become 21-year-olds, just the way we started, and by the 6th month they're talking to the artisans and bossing around 4 or 5 men in the production team. So it's great to see them grow personality-wise and everything that they're capable of learning in just 6 months from us.
Our sales girl, Mounaz, she came in, we called her Farida or Kaputa, because she walked in like very shy and she didn't know what to do. And now, I kid you not, she is literally standing on her own in the office. We have Tahir, Mahmoud. Mahmoud, by the way, was our family driver, and now he's head of production. Excellent. Excellent, by the way. Okay. And we don't only work with 6 people, we actually work with 550 people outsourced. And they're mainly women from Asyut, Fayoum, Stablantar, Mu'attam, and we work with a lot of NGOs. Okhtein is really built on philanthropy. And why? Because the best charity you can give someone is a job and not money. And this is what we do every single month. We wake up in the morning to make sure that we don't only do it for ourselves, but we do it for a bigger and greater cause. And that's why I think and people are always like, why don't you shed light on this? This is very important for your Instagram, your Facebook. I'm like, I'm not doing it for Instagram. Whoever asks me, I'll tell them who we work with. But to really just highlight the story of helping out women, no, it should come in science, and it should be like, it should show in other ways, not just, you know what I mean? Third question?
We answered.
Oh, we answered. Okay, we answered.
We got the one question. Okay, let's start with the challenges. I have a completely opposite challenge, and I can't outsource because I have to see everything happening here in Egypt. We still don't have the know-how to outsource an haute couture. So I had to go through creating my own small factory from scratch. So I had first that this is one of my biggest challenges. So expansion plans is very difficult because in order to expand, you have to expand the workshop and then expand the brand. It's double the effort for me. So it's that's for the challenges. That's my worst challenge, and we have to of course keep on training and every time I have the opportunity, even abroad, for my team to take quality control or plan with to work around different ways of cuts, and my specialty, by the way, is body shaping. So I have to, even every single person who comes on board, I have to give a whole session of how to, when I send you the shapes 1, 2, 3, you have to do 1, 2, 3. So it's the workshop and no outsourcing. That's my biggest challenge. And of course, with the dollar devaluation and trying to become an international brand, that's a way bigger challenge. But it's good here in Egypt locally because the target market that I was targeting used to go and get evening dresses from abroad. Now they are going for something that is in Egyptian pounds. So that's something better. And for the international market, it's also better for them because it's relatively lower price than their competitors. And the quality, that's also another challenge because for the quality control, I used to do a lot of, I had a leadership program with Chanel before, so I've learned a lot of quality controlling. So every single day, I have to make at least six people go through the quality. 6 people, including adding to it me as well. And for the scaling, I started only me, and I had a tailor who was also a pattern maker. Okay, I stayed like that for 2 years, trying, because going to fashion weeks I have to do some profits and then make the saving and then pay for the fashion week. برجع مفلسة ابتدي من أول وجديد. I did a lot of risking يعني. I did like, let's risk and pay all the money that we have for LA Fashion Week. Because but it's a profitable company. And lately, because I'm looking for expansion, I have to create my own workshop. Lately, I have investors on board and silent shareholders only helping me with the financial part, because it's time to يبقى في ضخة كده حلوة علشان to be able to expand and to be able to create a bigger factory for TEMRAZA. And what's
Building your team.
I started with me and +1, and then now we're a team of around 12 individuals. And for the factory, we have the 12 individuals includes the operation manager who's in the factory, and for the factory we have around another 10. So that's for the expansion plans. We are every once in a while we start to add new products. For example, we lately did a collaboration for heels. We designed heels with a brand called Mizura, and it's only 5 designs, but I'm taking it step by step. And also it's very important to do the 10-year or the long-term plan, so that we have a clear mission and vision, and we know every quarter we assess if we achieved what we wanted to achieve or not. And also for the business part, I have a little background. I was recently hired as the North African Director of the Council of International Fashion Designer in the US, the CIFD. I'm basically أنا بحب التعليم. I'm for academia. So I've studied and teaching fashion business. And here in AUC we have done a lot of workshops and competitions, and also I'm doing this as a freelance also. Barra, sometimes I get a group of people teaching them, because we're all about raising the awareness of introducing the local brands who have high international standards. We can do it. That's the whole purpose. I don't care about being the only haute couture who's going international. What I care about is I found Egypt really supporting this. So why not support it back? And it took me a lot of years to get to fashion weeks, to get to strategy, to get into international platform. I want to share that knowledge and know-how to other designers who have enough professionalism, who have enough passion and enough patience to do that, to actually give it to them on the table. But if I'm really sure that they can do that, and actually Dr. Ismail was part of that initiative. We did it together here in AUC, and we have winners, and they are traveling to Miami to attend a conference and a fashion show. So actually, yeah, Egypt has a lot of talent, and Made in Egypt long time ago was a very strong thing. And there is a wall in Italy that says Egypt was one of the top capitals in fashion. So why not bring that back? Why not bring Egypt back into the global fashion map?
Let me build on this, and I'll also ask you the same question. What does it take to build the fashion design, not manufacturing, not textiles, the fashion design industry in Egypt, from what you've seen? I mean, you're both kind of planting seeds for that. We had a lot of this 100 years ago, and for a long time we never had it. It's a knowledge-based industry. It's based on passion and knowledge. It's not based on resources. It's based on talent, on people. Yes. What does it take to build that, to rebuild that?
I have, because I'm very academic, كل حاجة لازم I put it into models and theories, and so I created something called 8 Ps. 8 Ps are the 8 words that starts with a P that anyone from the creative industry who want to develop should have. and this is actually يا رب افتكرهم بس كلهم passion, professionalism, patience, and you would find me saying all of them because they are really the key to success. Passion, professionalism, patience, providing a unique selling proposition, so here's another P. Perception, playing with the perception that you need to convince the client that they are really going for a high-end brand. What else? I discussed that before. Presentation, doing a good presentation. Present yourself in the best light. There are two other P's. Yes. Persistence was actually one of them. Persistence, yeah, because every single day I create a to-do list on a paper. It's like, it can be 50 to-do lists, okay? These 50, I only achieve 10 of which, or even one of which on a daily basis, if I achieved any. So the persistence that anyone should have every day to wake up, to do the same task over and over again, it's and PR. PR is the credible form of advertising. So you need to have a lot of PRing going on. It doesn't have to be a PR agency, but it can be the right public relations. It can be through press releases, like what Okhtein were just talking about. It can be the proper PRing to present and show the people that you have a credible brand. What was the question?
What would it take to build an Egyptian fashion industry? I mean, you were talking about discussions with the government, you were talking about your problems with the industry, with manufacturing, with design. What would it take? And also going global.
I wanted to answer your question, yours. Yeah, I realized you didn't answer your question. The process of funding is very important because, like you said, we've been self-funded. But then it really comes back to where you want to be in 10 years. Do you want to become a very big brand, or just you want to stay like a family business in Egypt, send out some bags here and there to celebrities? Our vision is much bigger than financially where we are right now. But of course, we realize Okhtein's vision is to be bought by one of the big fashion houses, specifically LVMH, the Louis Vuitton, or something from Qatar, or this is our plan, is to have a big fashion house invest in Okhtein. Why? Because it then really takes your brand to an international level. It takes your brand to be stocked in every retailer around the world. For sure, you no longer have to pay PR because if you're under this umbrella, you're under all the other umbrellas as well. This is our aim. We might reach it and we might not. So what's important is that we should not sell ourselves short to any investor at the moment, because if we do that, we lose a very big part of Okhtein.
If we ever get an investor on board, what Mounaz is saying, it needs to be a strategic investor for us, someone in the fashion background, and we get approached by fashion investors. But what Mounaz was saying, our aim is LVMH, one of the best and the biggest fashion investors potentially in the world, and this is where we're trying to head to.
So to answer your question, we're still learning as we go which investors. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you I need X amount of money because we really don't know at the moment who's the right investor for us. And luckily, we are working with amazing people who are working on feasibility studies, on the company value, all of that to teach us what our company is worth, because we might not know what our company is really worth. So we're currently in this process at the moment.
If you want.
Fashion industry. Before talking about all the success and all the perseverance, persistence, I feel it's talent. And Mounaz and I give a lot of workshops. A lot of people want to be the next fashion designer, but what they're missing is right before all of those steps is the talent. And we feel that if you have it, then stay true to it. And we find a lot of designers that are, when they present their designs, it's exactly like a design that I've seen abroad, and this is something that I feel that will not take you places. It's very easy to copy another design, but staying true to who you are as a designer and staying true to being original and staying true to your own designs is what will take you to the international level that you're looking for. And basically, it's about the art. This is what I would say that will make you a fashion brand.
a professor here actually taught me a very interesting thing. First class, where she told all the students to sit down, and she's like, students, get a piece of paper out and a pen. I'm going to ask you 5 questions. Don't say them out loud and write the answers. And we were like, okay, what are they? She's like, if you were to personify Galaxy as a human being, Galaxy the chocolate, the brand, would it be a woman or a man? Okay. Would she wear silky dresses or like jeans and hats and scarves? What type of music would she listen to? Her house, is it brown or is it modern? Is it black? Her scent. So she asked like 6 questions, and then she told us, she asked them again, but this time we had to answer all of us simultaneously in class out loud. And to my surprise, we all answered the same answers. Everyone said classic music, everyone said a woman in her 30s. So just like, see, this is how you become a brand, is when you personify it and you create such an identity to it, that it's no longer something that's so distant from you. No, she could be your friend, she could be your wife, she could be your daughter, or whatever she is, it needs to be so personal. And this is, I think, the essence of Okhtein. It's literally Mounaz and literally Aya put together in Okhtein, as original as the name is, and it's anything that comes to our mind, we design it. And we don't copy, we create and not imitate. And this is the most important thing on earth. If you want to be someone, you be yourself. You don't be someone else's design or someone else's personality. And this is how you establish a brand.
And then after this,
comes all the very limited factors.
yes, Farida mentioned for sure.
Thank you.
We have a question.
We're going to take another round of questions. Let me just get back to Farida on the funding, because you talked about the question about the funding. Farida, you received some funding. What was the thought process about getting it? I mean, you're still in that process. You're thinking about the valuation, who matching, the kind of personality, what's the deal, and you just went through that.
Yes. So basically, when I had to create, because at first I tried to find a good outsourcing to create the same, but we're doing haute couture, so it has to be fitting every single woman's body shape like perfectly. The customized and the collections, the pret-a-porter, we have 2 lines. So we thought when we did our research and we went down the streets and we started asking people and asking collections and asking factories if they do outsourcing for haute couture, and we found it's not the same quality that we wanted. We found that we need to take it to a higher level. We need to be on top of it. It's way more difficult. It's a lot of work. It's bigger team, but it has to be done when it comes to dresses, clothing, especially haute couture. So we have had several investors from Egypt and from outside of Egypt, and we decided to go with the people who believed in us the most, with people who would support us, who would say, yes, you will do it. Because honestly, money comes and goes. But we needed that in the moment to build that factory. Yeah, we created profit, and for an entrepreneur, it's not enough. It's never enough. You would be wanting more. This is not what you want as a profit for now. So we have had several selection. We have chosen one of which is the 138 pyramids. And 138 pyramids, they were a collection of investors, maybe a combo of investors who really know how to spend their money. They were people who include Nivin al-Tahri, Sheikh Salah Kamel, Sheikh Salah Sawiris. And because we needed at that time, because we knew what our needs were, we needed that for the coming plan of 6 to 8 years. We needed that. And yes, still fashion fund is very, very important. We need, and I'm still, because you still have 100%, you can build a chunk with the people that you want. You can dedicate some for the people who would benefit you investing-wise, people who would benefit you in a fashion-wise, and actually we are also looking now for a fashion fund because we want to also learn from their expertise of the organization structure of a fashion company and of a workshop, of a factory, and how do you manage that. And yes, or everything else will come after because they will know, they will have the know-how. But I haven't heard of any fashion funds here in Egypt. That's why we're also going for a lot of fashion funds in different states, mainly in the US, because this is where we found our brand growing very much.
Thank you, Farida. Let's take another round of questions before we conclude.
Okay, I have 3 questions. One revolves around pricing, the second revolves around culture, and the third revolves around connections. Okay? So first of all, how were you able to set your pricing strategies against your costs? So this is where we want to, I will want to talk about in detail about this part. The second, concerning culture, I can see, the title here we should be discussing is local to global. Global does just not only mean the US or Europe, it does also mean eastwards, okay? So why haven't you both been talking about this? Have there been other culture chains, for example? Have there been culture chains? You were talking about crafting an email so that you are noticed and seen. Was that different when you were talking to the East, or haven't you tried to approach them? Okay. Third is the connections. How were you able to build your connections? How were you able to nail down meetings with the minister? How were you able to achieve that?
Well, that's a lot of it. There was another question at the back. I want to make sure to take it, and then we'll take the gentleman's question, and then we'll get to Okhtein. I think they need to run to the factory for something, and then I'll get Farida after that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll take you back, like when you started. How did the passion come? You briefly went over it, but I have a little girl who's she doesn't like mathematics and also. She's more like artistic. So I'm thinking in that manner. I want advice. And if you're going to start, let's say you guys cooperate. Maybe you start, since there's no funding and there's no fashion funds, like you said. Maybe you guys will create it and maybe have some kind of learning, facility that could, take those artistic people who are, dropped out of the system because of their artism. Thank you.
Wonderful. There's a third question from the gentleman.
Yes. Before I start my question, I really would like to thank all of you, especially Mona and Ayman, for their, what I can call, being honest in their speak about their experience and about their, in the industry, nobody likes to tell others about how they to succeed in life. I'm an old man. I pass a lot of experience, but I really was dreaming of meeting people, Egyptian people, who can imitate the images that I have seen in Germany and abroad. You are, I'm telling you, you are the future of Egypt. You will make Egypt like made in Germany. If you have time, I will explain to you what does it mean made in Germany. I lived in Germany for a while. However, now come back to the, yes, I'm sure. What I want to ask you, which is a real human question, because I'm interested in management and administration. How can you manage with the Egyptian mentality? You see, of the labor, because you touch it, all the quality of the people who doesn't like to finish their job properly, the people who want somebody to always supervise them. The people doesn't have the instinct that they like to do the job as it should be done, to finish it without somebody supervising them. To give you an example, the people who doesn't want to be proud of their work, fine that he's doing the job. Thank you.
Thanks. So I'll start with Ayman.
Yes, we'll start. So just a little quick, like we said, we بنتحايل على factories عشان نخلص شغلنا and we're building the new collection. So we'll because I love all the questions and we really want to go answer them. I would love to start with your question. Personally, on a spiritual level, my sister and I are very spiritual people. Okay, very spiritual people. So we always believe that on earth you should do good, be good, and not only that, be very honest to yourself, because you can never go wrong with honesty, you can never go wrong with transparency, and it always comes back to you. So in our industry, we're not competitive per se when it comes to our strategy. No, in a matter of fact, every month we offer workshops and we get people to our office and we teach them everything we know and everything we learn, because there was no one to teach us when we had no one to teach us. We literally learned everything. So I think as sisters, we're always about giving back and always about being honest and education, basically. To answer your question, mentality-wise, given the spiritual part, we believe that as humans you need to be faceless. In order to understand the mentality, Egypt is not only one mentality actually, it's a bunch of mentalities, okay? For example, the plating guy we plate our gold with is pure Ikhwani, the entire team. They hate speaking to us on the phone.
Especially after the president's wife, when she wore our bag to Sharm el-Sheikh, they saw the pictures and they immediately refused and rejected all of our work to be plated.
And we were stuck because we had a very big export deal in 3 weeks and they refused to plate. And they're the best in Egypt with plating. So what happened was, my driver, who's also the head of production now, he came and told me, Anissa, هما دلوقتي مش رافضين يشتغلوا معاكم عشان حرم السيسي لبست شنطة. فقلت له هنعمل ايه؟ يقول لي مش عارف. قلت له يعني انت راجل هنا، هو مش عايز يتكلم معايا، هنعمل ايه؟ انا ما اعرفش، بس لسه اقول لحضرتك كنت واقفة امبارح. رحت كلمته امبارح. All of you speak Arabic, right? Yeah. كلمته امبارح. الو السلام عليكم. تخن صوتي. ازي حضرتك؟ ازيك يا انسه؟ قلت له الحمد لله، انا بس بكلم حضرتك مش هقول لك حاجتين، البقاء لله، وانا فعلا اشكرك في كل الظروف اللي حضرتك فيها، برضو حاططنا الاول عندك في الليست في الشغل، وده مش هي حاططنا اخر حاجه. فقال لي حضرتك انا فعلا متشكر جدا لتليفونك، حضرتك ذوق وشكرا ومع السلامه. 2 days later محمود called me، انسه خلص شغل كله، بجد كله.
Working in Egypt, working in Egypt, everything is personal. Something that I've noticed with work, and I'm very professional when it comes to work. Yani,
German.
They really do call me Al-Manaya.
They call it German.
Yes. When I used to take appointments with the artisans, at 11, I'd be 10:59 sharp in front of them, and they would not in their nature خالص. Inshallah, the word Inshallah is part of their terminology, but it was very, very difficult mentality and dealing with them. But Mounaz and I always have a way around. We always believe in there's a solution to every problem. And mentality, basically, this was our main challenge at first, especially when we were working with the artisans. How to work with their mentality? Basically, we played the bad cop, good cop. Basically, it was very hard, and Mounaz is very Mounaz لذيذة قوي معاك. When she's working with the artisans, صباح الخير, she has a way كده with them. When I enter the workshop, for example, I'm very straight-faced. I don't joke as much as Mounaz, and they would always fear me, but they would respect me at the same time. They wouldn't feel اللي هو أنسة ما ينفعش أهرب معاها. I always used to get طب اضحك شوية أنسة يعني فوقي شوية. But I had to do this for a reason. I had to do this so that they respect the work, so they could come on time, so they could finish the work with ضمير. And this was basically still to this moment with the outsourcing with the factories. They would finish the product without putting their heart into it. If there's a stitch, مش مشكلة مش هتبان. الزبونة مش هتاخد بالها. And I would literally waste the money in the product and time, return it back to the factory. I'm so sorry, I will not accept this. And several times the products would go back and forth because I tell them أنا عندي ضمير إن أنا مش هبيع شنطة غالية بالمنظر ده. If you respect my ideology, the company and the product هتكمل معانا. that this is something that I always face till now, but slowly we're trying to change it. And from the way we started till now, there's a major difference. They respect their products now, and they do, like I said, put some love and put some effort into the final product. But this is a way of changing and shifting the mentality.
Plus, our parents had a very big role. Our parents are very humble, and my dad, ever since we were kids, would always throw us كده, be like, you know what? Do not be in your bubble of AIS and AUC. No, you do not live in this bubble. Yani, no. My dad would be like, you're a woman, you're an Egyptian woman, you live in Egypt. You cannot be stuck in the same group or circle of friends, the same lifestyle, the same outings, the same superficial or pretentious nature that sometimes our culture gets really trapped into. No, he made it a deal that we befriend every single human being and treat all human beings as if they're equals. And when you get to growing up as a child to know how to speak to your porter, to your driver, to your nanny, خلاص, you get by naturally you know how to speak to the different mentalities, to the different religions. People are driven religiously, for example. Again, being very spiritual, it helps with our Sana'iyya because I always include God and God's words, and the Rasul said was, and this is how you know who you're talking to. Sometimes you're talking to a fashion stylist in LA who doesn't even know what God is, so you need to take form of who you are as a person. That's what we do, basically. And, for your daughter, you should always visually feed her, like colors. You cannot be this parent, because this is what our parents did with us as well. They would leave us to play in the dirt, to try this color out, to try that out. And if you show her, visually feed her eyes, on a psychological level, it's proven that it really enhances her artistic abilities.
And challenging. You always have to give her a challenge. Make her work hard for something. If she's given anything easily, she will never work hard for it. Especially in the art section, art is very dreamy, and she always feel like she won't make money out of it when she grows up. But you always have to put this mentality in your mind that you have to work hard to achieve something, especially with art, because artists tend to lose themselves into the art.
Just don't be the parent that gives her daughter everything, because our parents made it a point that they don't give us everything we want, and if we want something, we work for it. My friends would be getting whatever they want, same education, same everything. My dad would look me in the eye and be like, you want it, work for it. And we've been making our own money since we're 16 years old. And it's not Okhtein related. We would paint something together and sell it. We would do bookmarks and sell them. So, there were 3 questions, very intense, but
first one was pricing, right?
Yes. Questions.
When we won the Vogue Arabian competition, our price points were at internationally $300, okay? Before winning the competition, we stood in front of the panel of judges, and one of them is head of Ustura, one of the biggest fashion retailers in Kuwait and Middle East. His name is Ramzi. He looked us in the eye and we're like, girls, come on. I cannot sell your bag for $200, $300. Are you crazy? No, you're not. The workmanship in your bag is so detailed and so meticulous to the point that you're selling yourself short. So we told them, okay, so how do we price it?
We priced it according to our Egyptian prices when you convert it.
So what we did was, which happened to us once, we shipped one of the bags to Dubai way before the competition with the price point of $200, $300. They shipped it back. They're like, I'm so sorry, it's so low in price point that something must go wrong with the bag. And then it goes back to perception. Sometimes you buy something just because of the perception and not what it actually is. Okay. Sometimes maths, for instance, it's perception but with quality. So they told us it all boils down to what you want. Do you want to be a high-end affordable brand, or do you want to be like a mediocre brand? And A and I were like, no, high-end, because our bags, literally one bag travels around Egypt, from North Egypt, Upper Egypt, to Aswan, so it has a lot of craftsmanship in it. So internationally, price point is at cost, and then you have a markup. You do 2 markups, one from at cost to wholesale, and then from wholesale to retail. Okay? And usually the markup differs between the retailers. So Selfridges, for instance, their markup is 3 to 3.3%. As a store in London, their markup will be times 3 is 3.3%. Exactly. Sometimes retailers will be like 2.2, 2.5. So it really is a matter of your competition and where you position yourself strategically internationally. So I cannot create a bag that's same price as Chanel at the moment, because that's ridiculous.
And at the same time, this causes a challenge because you sell it for $200 and you convert it to Egyptian pounds. That's okay, but then when you want to sell it abroad, they're like $300, it's too cheap. You have to sell it for $800. But then again, $800 and times 17.5 or 18, that's a lot of money for the Egyptian market. This is currently a big problem we're facing right now between two different pricing, between local market and international.
We're getting a lot of hate emails, like literally people.
It's okay, but to a certain extent. So final conclusion that we had with our retailers abroad, because I sell it Bloomingdale's, Dubai, for instance, and if I sell there for $800, but I sell it here for way, way less EGP,
it's called fashion tourism, you're right, but I'm only restricted at a 30% discount from the country of origin. Otherwise, I'll be losing all.
Another means. If you tell a company as a means for two brands.
Exactly, but again, I'll tell you what we did because it's very interesting. So basically, we started getting a lot of hate comments and hate emails that I'll tell you literally what people said. إحنا اللي كبرناكم انتوا فاكرين نفسكم مين. Other people would say انتوا فاكرين نفسكم دلوقتي عشان بيونسي لقيتوا شنطتكم. Here we get a lot of hate comments and messages and phone calls literally every single day, a lot. And then I was like, you know what? They're complaining because we stopped releasing the expensive products in Egypt. Okay? We did that because again, I don't like the feeling where a girl is working her butt off every month but can't afford something she really wants. I don't like that. So unfortunately, when Selfridges prices the bag at, let's say, $1,000, that's 17,000 Egyptian pounds, which is a lot of money for someone who's just started their career, let's say, okay? So A and I were like, you know what, let's just discontinue it from the market, and whoever really wants it and can afford it, we'll make them an exception and sell it to them. When we did that, everyone got furious that we released our collections abroad and not in Egypt. So Aya came up with a very smart solution. She was like, okay, Bara Mas, they work one season ahead. Okay, so in Mas, in Egypt, الشتوي بينزل في الشتاء والصيفي بينزل في الصيف. No, Bara, it's one season ahead. So the buyers would buy the spring collection in winter and release it at the right time there. And then when it goes on sale there, it's the right weather to release it in Egypt. So now I can match at least the price points. And this is what we're doing. Still, Egyptians are very angry. So for next season, what we're doing is we're releasing the same bag, same price. If you want to buy it, you want to buy it. If you don't want to buy it,
when it's released, like for example, our summer collection was released. It's a bit complicated fashion calendar, but we're releasing it in stores March. Okay, this is the SS18 Spring Summer 2018 gets released abroad in March. March is still cold. No one wants to buy summer bags then, but we're releasing them internationally during that time, and then we will release it in Egypt when it's sale season there, which is around the start of our summer, which is around May, June. That's their sale season. So it makes sense. Just wait 3 months and you'll get it at a much affordable price. So it's basically playing with the calendar. And it's smart for now. Retailers like it. We sell the bags with it's a discount there. But for the people that really want to buy something as soon as it's released, because there are a lot of fashion people that really want that, we will start that next season. We will release it the same time that international retailers are happy.
I want to tell you how we found out that it's illegal to do so. We released the brass bags, which is the most expensive bag we have, at our store in Jameel. And then a client walked in, she took a picture of the price point and sent it to Bloomingdale's Dubai. The lawyer called us. He's like, you know how wrong this is, right? You cannot be selling the same exact bag in Dubai for, let's say, $800 and in Egypt for 5,000 pounds. There's a difference of 12,000 Egyptian pounds. Especially that Dubai, half of Dubai is Egyptians. But word of mouth. We have clients in Saudi sending her niece from Masr Jadida to buy her like 10 bags just because she can afford 10 bags from Egypt, but with the price of مثلا 2 bags from Dubai. So we stopped that because it's wrong, you know what I mean? So you'd be surprised people are out to get you whether you like it or not.
The second question for the Asian market, right? Was
not necessarily, but East.
But East. We approached, it's not just Europe and the US market. When we first started approaching, for example, Hong Kong, we have a very big retail boutique that we want to target. One of their rules and restrictions were copyrights. your brand has to be copyrighted, and registered. Every design needs to be registered. And if not, I'm sorry, we can't have you on board because of a lot of the problems that they face with copywriting and infringements. Yes. What we did was, okay, let's talk to our lawyer, and it required a big amount of
trademarking
investment in this.
Very expensive.
In this area, exactly. And slowly we've been doing it for the past year now, and we registered every design we have, every classic design that we have, our logo, it's all registered, not just in Egypt, but in the US, in Europe, and in Asia. And actually part of phase 2 for Okhtein right now is expanding into penetrating Asian markets. It's a big step for us, and we have to be very ready for it because their quantities are not like the US and Europe. They times 10 automatically.
So we have rejected a lot of orders actually from the Asian market because of the factory we're with. I cannot take on more than I can handle at the moment. I need to protect the quality, so it's quality over quantity.
But this is definitely a market that we've been trying to reach. It's not that we're neglecting it, it's just very hard to penetrate that market. And we're not ready at that moment, or we weren't ready at that moment, but we're slowly working towards it. And
you said something about culture?
Connections.
Reaching the minister, right? Basically,
it is as my torch, that's what my mom always says.
We keep asking, like, we love networking. When it's an Okhtein is built on networking, we never lose the chance or the opportunity to get to know someone because we're sure that someone knows someone that knows someone that will lead you to what you want. And how we reached the minister, it was through my friend's father who has a leather tannery, and I was asking him for a production. I was sharing with him our experience with our factory and that I need help in production. And it happened that he knows the minister. And he was very kind enough to request a meeting with him, and he was very interested in meeting with us because it was right after the president's wife wore the bag. It was right after Sharm el-Sheikh, and it was also a hype then for supporting local talent, and it was a very good opportunity for us to share our experience and to get some feedback from the minister.
صورة بعض سياسة الشنطة دي بتعديني في الجمارك يعني دلوقتي. I swear because we traveled with our bags and then traveled back يعني بيجوا يوقفوني يقولوا لي ادفعي جمارك، أقول لهم ده منتج صنع في مصر. لا، أقول له طيب أوكي، فاتحة له شنطة مرير من جوه ختم صنع في مصر، أنا مش بضحك على حضرتك يعني. يقول لي لا كام شنطة عماد عد كده كام جمارك احجزوا على الشغل ده، راح مطلع له الصورة حضرتك براسي دي هي نفس الشنطة هتعديني ولا مش هتعديني؟ اتفضل يعني it doesn't make sense اللي انا اكون بدفع جمارك على حاجة معمولة في مصر يعني
But it's not just you. يعني actually they are doing the same with me. I informed the presidential office about it.
لا
Mounaz اشتكت من نفس الموضوع.
لا وبعدين دلوقتي كلمة أختين if we import سلاسل because you can't find good quality chains in Egypt يشوفوا مكتوب أختين يقعدوني الشحنة في هناك for month يجوا يقولوا لي أرضيات 150,000 جنيه. أقول لهم ليه؟ حضرتك في حاجة بس فاتورة، مفيش حاجة فاتورة صح and everything's legal, everything we do is super legal. بس عشان my name, our name on the import license أختين طبعا كل حاجة تانية ممتازة عندنا يعني. We talked about all these problems with the government. We told them ما ينفعش كذا 1 2 3 4 5 if you really want to support the SMEs in Egypt to grow ما ينفعش الحكومة تبقى حافظة ومش فاهمة، لازم يبقوا فاهمين exactly اللي بيحصل. And I'm actually very proud of the changes that are happening now in the government. I must say slowly but surely. لسه برضه بعمل كده كل يوم بس يعني إن شاء الله. We're optimistic. We are very sorry.
You have to now continue with Farida for the third question. Thank you so much.
What's next for your brand? Where are you heading with it?
I'm gonna start. هو يعني هبتدي بأقرب حاجة عندنا. احنا we are, as I told you earlier, we are officially invited to represent Egypt in the US. So we're doing a tour of fashion shows in the US. Wish me luck with that. That's for the very short-term plan of next week and the following weeks. But for a long-term plan, I will maintain يعني literally hassling with the quality, making sure that the quality is extremely high end. ده أنا إن شاء الله أحاول أكبر workshop, trying to really become a really global brand, even trying to penetrate the Asian market and continue to penetrate the European and the American market. not just that, ونرفع اسم مصر يعني نحاول على قد ما نقدر يعني انه because it's لولا supporters that I had from family, friends, professor, Dr. Ismail was one of which, who taught me, who made me love the fact why not become an entrepreneur? Why not become a one-woman show and start with something, with a project that grows bigger? I really reinforce every single person who has a passion in anything, regardless what it is, to go after their dreams, to make something out of it, and to have a bigger aim of not just benefiting yourself, but maybe benefiting your country. Doing something, philanthropy also is very good, like Mounaz said, but also corporate social responsibility. In order for it to be sustainable, نقدر إن إحنا نكمل ما نعملش بس خير، لا يبقى في خير وعائد إن إحنا we are seeing sustainability, we are seeing maintenance, مش بس إن إحنا نقف عند الستep اللي إحنا فيها. Anything that I find every single day that would promote or make the brand bigger, from quality controlling to workers, to tailors, to how to outsource, to anything, I would really take that initiative and make a planning towards it. ربنا يسهل.
Thank you so much, Farida. I think it was a very interesting conversation because in my mind, a lot of people are thinking about this industry in the terms of textiles, in terms of manufacturing. And the problem is that you don't make a lot of money, you don't make a lot of value, you don't create as much value as knowledge industries that depend on talent, depend on design, depend on marketing and branding and taking these things global. And I think this is the enabler for all the back-end industries that will employ people and do a lot of that, but it has to be built on that knowledge that comes into it. So I learned a lot today. It's all about the zipper at the end of the day, but it's a symbol for quality, credibility, and all the 8 P's that Farida mentioned. So thank you, Farida, and thanks to Aya and Mounaz. And thank you, everybody. I also wanted to thank Ramonda, Dalia, Nada, and the rest of the alumni office for getting us all here together and getting old friends to meet and to talk and also to learn about new things that are happening. Thank you, everybody.